What's up guys, it's Max Clausen and I'm going to be bringing you an updated to my Yubel deck profile post Battles of Legends Terminal Revenge. And yes, I'm finally doing a deck profile post a new set coming out. It's been a while since I do that consistently, but finally was able to pick up one of my Phantom of Yubels thanks to my good friend Santiago, and thanks to another friend let me borrow his Phantom that he got from another friend. I was able to play this at the locals today. So at the time you guys watching the video will be yesterday. So went with a X&1 record, part against a Labyrinth, Melodious, and Manadeum. Did lose against the Melodious deck, so you know, spoilers to that. But aside from all of that, the deck is very powerful now that we got Phantom. And without further ado, we're going to be getting into the deck profile. And shout outs to Sleeve Chief. This is not a sponsored video, but really loving the Yubel playmat. All nice and cloth, so beautiful, you know. Now starting off with our monsters, we are rocking the main five monsters of the Yubels until we ever get another one. Would be the 1 Terra Incarnate, the 1 regular Yubel, and the 3 Spirit. All of these are your main ways of trying to win and control the game, as per noted. Spirit, on special summon, you can add or set any spell or trap that mentions Yubel, and you cannot add the field spell, so do not cheat or do not let your opponent cheat you that way. And all the Yubels share the common effect that they cannot die in battle, and your opponent would take, well, only these two do that. So on Destruction of Spirit, you'll summon Yubel. Destruction of Yubel, you summon Terra Incarnate. So that's it for those. For my new little engine, I decided to try out the Kashtira package, and I gotta say, it put in pretty good work, guys. I really do enjoy this package. I did get this idea from Top Table Gaming, so shout outs to them. You're really great, my guys. The Kashtira package, I do advise you guys to try playing it in a Yubel deck because it puts up so much pressure to the opponent, not only giving you more bodies to link off with, but also giving you discard materials thanks to Fenrir adding any other copies of yourself, and Unicorn being able to search Birth, which can be a very big hindrance to the opponent's deck. And obviously for field controlling, Fenrir is great for banishing monsters, and Unicorn is great for banishing things from the opponent's extra deck, so you know what they're playing. Next, we do still run the 1 Soul Shavara. I might end up putting the Blue Dog back in here just because Phantom is now a thing, and there'll probably be some ideas to roll around with there. I am still trying out the Fiendish Rhino Warrior because there is a little card in the extra deck that I have the Kashtira package in here for. That also helps to synergize with Rhino Warrior. But if you don't know his effect from my last profile or from any other profile, when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send a Fiend monster from your deck to the grave. Next, I do still only rock the 2 Dark Beckoning Beasts. It's not a starter, it's just a decent extender, and it helps to get your Samsara Lotus out of your hand if both this is in contention with that. And it's also searchable via the field spell, so you don't really have to play 3. You can play 3 if you want to, and if you're running the 65 Buster Jin or whatever his name is, I just simply don't. Next is our 1 card starter, which gets us into Phantom, which is really ridiculous, is the 3 Samsara D Lotus. This card is literally all you need. As long as this goes off, your plays are good. You can tribute it, summon a Yubel monster from your deck, and during the end phase, should you control the original Yubel, you summon it back from the graveyard or add it back to your hands. So obviously you'll summon it to the field, because while it's on field, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can tribute this card by quick effect speed to change that monster's effect to destroy a Yubel monster you control. and that is altering like monster effects, game state, some of things. So if they have a monster that's unaffected by your monster effects, it doesn't matter, because this is altering the card text of it entirely in a sense. Next up, for the last monster we play, is the 3 Gruesome Grave Squirmer. Very, very important card. This did help me dodge a few card effects today. While you control a fiend monster, you can reveal it from your hand at quick effect speed, special summon it, and then you can destroy one of your monsters. So obviously you would want to destroy one of your Yubels. Should they try targeting Spirit, more than likely with an Imperm or a Veiler or a Mourner or something like that. And while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it from the grave to summon a fiend with 0 attack and defense from your hand or graveyard. And that's only once per turn. Wish it was more than once, but then it would be a little too busted. That's it for the monster lineup. Let's move on to the spells. We're rocking with the 3 Nightmare Throne. Jesus, it doesn't make any sense of how crazy this card just went up in price. At the time of recording this video, I believe this card has hit the $50 mark, and thank God I was able to get all 3 of mine relatively easily. And thank God that I chose to play this deck when it first dropped, because now people are scrambling trying to get their Yubel, because it's going to be one of the best decks in the format. On activation, you can add or destroy a fiend with 0 attack and defense from your deck. And should one of your Yubel monsters leave the field by a card effect, you can add a Yubel monster from your deck, grave, or banishment that is 1 level higher or lower than that destroyed monster, and then you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. Next, we do have the 3 Nightmare Pain, your main way of winning the entire game. On activation, you can destroy a dark monster on your field or in your hand, and if you do that, you can add 1 card that mentions Yubel. And when your Yubel monsters engage in battle, your opponent takes all damage that you would have taken. So a nice little thing that most Yubel players should keep in mind and remember, because I know it is hard, not really hard, but it's old card text. So regular Yubel and Terra Incarnate both have the effect that while they're in attack position, when the opponent declares an attack against them, they deal damage equal to that monster's attack, and thanks to Nightmare Pain, they'll take essentially double battle damage. So they'll take the monster's attack as effect damage first, and then they'll take this, thanks to its effect, as battle damage. And while this is face up on the field, your opponent is forced to attack your Yubel monsters. Next, for the kind of board stabilizing card, I do choose to play the 3 Forbidden Droplets. This card is really, really good. I do suggest you guys get yours now if you haven't already. Good to just get those extra dead cards in our hand or on our field off the field, and then weaken their monsters on their side, just to mainly just to get to cut off their effects. Say if they have a SP Little Knight or a Dragon Colossus, just activate this, turn those off. Next is the next consistency card, being Pure Erase Map, which is another way of getting your 1 card starter in Samsara D Lotus. You have to activate this at the start of your main phase 1, so if you have this or another card in our deck at draw phase, you activate those immediately, because otherwise you cannot activate this. Activate it, getting half your life. You add a monster with 0 attack and defense, and if you do that, then your half-life is halved. But those monsters' effects are negated until you normal summon it. Next, we do play the 4th copy of our field spell in Terraforming. The 1 Opening of the Spirit Gates, a really good card. Only play 1 or 2 depending on how many Dark Beckoning Beasts you have, or 3 if you're playing all 3. On activation, it searches for Dark Beckoning Beasts. Once per turn, you can discard a card, then summon a fiend from your graveyard, non-targeting. And while you have a level 10 monster, you can add a continuous spell back from your graveyard to your hand. So pretty much free fodder for Forbidden Droplets to send this while you have this on the field. Next is the Kashtira Birth, as I stated earlier, for our Kashtira package. While you control the Kashtira monster, anytime your opponent activates and resolves a spell card or the effect, they banish the top 3 cards of their deck face down. And while this is face up, you can both normal summon level 7 monsters without tributing, and you can special summon a Kashtira monster once per turn from your hand or graveyard. Then we have the 1-for-1 and the Call by the Grave. That's it for our spell counts. Now, and for our traps, only playing a total of 5, that being the Infinite Impermanence, another way of breaking the opponent's board. In the case of Yubel decks, you don't really care how big their field gets. You only want to get your Yubels out so you can do the most damage by redirecting the battle damage to them. But since we have evolved to the sense that we can now be pretty aggressive depending on the extra deck build, you can use this both defensively and offensively. Just choose how you want to use it, but you know, it's our only hand trap. We do play the Rivalry just because this entire deck is fiends, aside from the Kashtira stuff, but you know, you can just get rid of them after you flip this up. Use this against most decks. It completely hoses them if they have no main deck out. And for our alternate choice of the Unchained trap card, we have Escape of the Unchained. I decided to put this in over a Chamber just because there are the times where I'm just like, I want to get rid of cards on their field. So you can activate this, getting rid of one of their cards, and then possibly chaining your Unsoul Monsters effect, mainly Rage or Anguish, to just link off with their stuff beforehand, because the cost is just to target both cards at activation. That is it for the main deck. A solid 40 cards. Let's get into the side. Now, please do not blame me too hard. Mine are coming in the mail. I actually had to borrow one Phantom of Yubel from one of my good buddies, Joey. He ended up getting one from a friend of ours, but I needed it to play this deck at full power. So yeah, I will be updating this deck again, because I do believe going forward playing 3 Phantom of Yubel is the wave, because the fact that you can summon this more than once in the turn is pretty crazy. You can only use its effects once per turn, so its effect is just like Samsara Lotus, but first and foremost, to summon it, you have to use a Yubel and a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your hand, field, or graveyard, shuffling them back into the deck. And as all Yubel monsters, it can be destroyed in battle. And just like Samsara Lotus, it has the effect to tribute itself at quick effect speed to alter a monster's effect to destroy a Yubel from your hand, deck, field, or graveyard. Well, not graveyard, but just destroy hand, field, or deck. And it cannot be used as fusion material. So that also works as a double-edged kind of sword, because we can't just keep shuffling this back, because if we could, bruh, we would just be playing 2 of this all day, every day. But it keeps it so our opponent cannot super poly us, so which is pretty strong. Again, mine second and third ones are coming in the mail. Just want to get those out of there. For the rank 7 is the 1 Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack. I decided to try this out because there is another monster in this extra deck that really goes well with this card. Summoning 2 level 3 tokens and being able to pop one of the tokens and pop a card on their field and not be able to be destroyed while you have those tokens. We have the Varudrus as left rank 10 Omni-Negate. For the Link package, we have the Salamangreat Almirage, the new addition being Cherubini, Ebon Angel of the Burning Abyss. Just requiring 2 level 3 monsters. You can use this to send the Fiendish Rhino Warrior that you saw earlier to the graveyard, so cute little synergy there. I did pick that tech up from Tabletop Gaming as well. Nice when all your players do help each other out. I played the McQuaker still, the Abyss Actor Super Producer. I do suggest you guys pick up this card because it's low-key kind of good. It really does help in most situations, but being another Fiend, it's good to have on hand. Do play the SP Linenite. Never went into it, but it's still good to have. The Unchained package of Rage, Yama, and Anguish. And of course, Abomination being now that we can play, I do enjoy playing these two, so it's really cool that we can play them again. Then for the last few rank 4s, we have the Appaloosa, player till she gets banned, and the Nightmare Griffin to Griffin lock our opponents, which is still a very good plan to do. And just the honorary, the honorary nib token, signed by MBT. That is it for the extra deck. Now, let's move into the side. The side, a few of these cards you make pretty good sense, but I did like some other ones, and they definitely hose my opponents, as you will see. For the hand traps, I did decide to side in the 3 Bestials, just because to beat out Snake Eyes with hitting the IP. Graveyard is still their most crucial point, and for Voiceless Voice, getting the low out the graveyard. For lethal spells, we do have the 1 Feather Duster, the double, triple Tactics Thrust, and returning from old 2000, I'd say 13 or so, is the 3 Twin Twister. Because man, the fact that this card actually should start seeing more play is bonkers. Being able to just discard a card and pop 2 cards on your opponent's field, forcing them to interact with you, can help set up your graveyard with your Grave Squirmer and your Fiendish Rhino Warrior, and just, you know, getting stuff off the field with no real life point cost. For the traps, the 3 Evenly, still a pretty busted card, and the 3 Skill Drain. Even though this, in a sense, does hurt us, we do main deck Droplets and we side deck Twin Twisters, so at any point in time I can just turn this off and just win the game with my monster effects. But that is it for the Yubel deck profile. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section down below. I really do appreciate your comments and viewing all of my videos. It really helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel for more content, and we will be having an update to the Flu deck. Yes, that deck is not dead. I have not forgotten about it. That will be coming up after the duo video, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next one.